And we are live. Good evening, folks. Mobile Geezer and Will here. Mike is taking this week off once again. I believe he's in North Carolina this week, but he'll be back next week. So, like last week, you have Will and I. I'm Mobile Geezer. You know my channel, Mobile Geezer, and that's my handle on Twitter and Facebook and Google Plus and Instagram. And Will is Will, you want to give any of your handles out anywhere?
Nah, I'm not really.
Okay. And when Will decides to start his channel, then we'll get all of his information. But this man is very knowledgeable, and Mike and Adam and I keep saying he needs to have his own channel because he's got too much knowledge not to share it with us all. So keep the pressure on, folks. Keep the pressure on. So tonight, we're going to start with the most serious thing that happened this week. And that, of course, was the female shooter at YouTube. And I'm a small YouTuber. Mike is a small YouTuber. Adam is a small. There's a lot of us small YouTubers out here, and it's just we don't take it so serious that it becomes a life and death thing.
Yeah.
And yes, the monetization issues have affected me. It's affected a lot of people, and a lot of people have made videos about it. But I mean, to go kill people over that seems awfully, awfully weird, and kill yourself too. And
Yeah, she took it a little bit too extreme,
exactly. And a lot of other guys, even going back to last year when YouTube changed their monetization policies, they made a lot of videos complaining and basically trying to get Google to stop it. And then they did it again this year. But my attitude for myself is it's their business, it's their platform that they're giving us free access to, which allows us to have access to people all over the world. So I'm not in any place to tell them what they should do with their business. No, I don't like the fact that they cut my monetization too, but my job now is to build it up to where I get it back. So I just don't see, and I guess the difference between that young lady and somebody like me is I'm not looking to make this my full-time job. I'm guessing that's what she was trying to do, but it's just very, very, very sad. Will, you have some comments?
Well, yeah, me not having a channel, I guess I don't understand how it would be that crazy to make you want to do that because from what I've seen, even from people with bigger channels, that Mike has spoken to, I've seen him interacting on Twitter. I don't see how the little bit of money that you get, unless your channel is huge, like
Right,
millions of, I
right.
don't see how that's enough to cause you to be that angry or upset. I mean, I don't know. She must have had some issues.
Yeah, I would say so. So anyway, we only started with that because that was the biggest story of the week. And we'll keep her family in our prayers, and I guess we all need to pray that nobody else is quite that far gone, and that it's don't make it that important, folks, because it's a hobby for those of us that have channels. It's something we love doing, and if it becomes your whole life, well, you're probably doing the wrong thing. So that's it for that. So moving on. Will, why don't you talk about the Twitter thing this week?
Well, seems like it was just happening. I think it just happened within the last couple of days, maybe. Twitter, they basically are, well, not the whole situation hasn't happened in a few days, but their Flamingo isn't in the Play Store anymore, which was like a third party app that a lot of people preferred to the standard Twitter app. It had more features. I believe it has a dark mode. I think it puts your feed in chronological order. Does some things that people like as
Right.
opposed to the standard Twitter app. They ran out of their tokens or whatever they call it, so you can't find it in the Play Store. And if you downloaded it before and had it, you can go back and get it from your from your history. You'll still be able to download it. But if not, you can't use it. You're not able to sign on with it. And basically, if you were the third party Twitter developers like that have apps. They're telling people to. There's like a hashtag they have to have people complain, have the Twitter developers fix it. But I don't really think they are because they don't. They want you to use their native Twitter app. They don't want you to
Yeah.
go outside of it. But
And from what I remember from the past, and this is just vague stuff in my memory, it seems like every once or twice a year, maybe Twitter would have some kind of problems with people using third-party apps. So I can see, where maybe it just became too much of a pain in the butt for them. Well, I think
no, I'm still here. I'm still
picture.
Here. Yeah, I'm still here. I don't really think it's so much of a problem with the app. I think it's I don't know. I don't really understand it. I wish somebody was in a room that had a better handle on the whole situation more than I do, but
right.
It's like they don't want. I don't know. I don't know what. I really don't understand what causes them not to want it, but they don't want it. They don't want a lot of different third-party apps, I guess, in their store because there's more of them. There was.
Sorry, that was me.
There was that one. There was Flamingo. There was Phoenix. There was a bunch of them that people really liked, and they gave them a hard time. Now, I don't know what the difference is between Twitter on Android versus the iPhone because they have a similar setup where it's a third party. You can get a third party Twitter app unless I misunderstand it. Like they have Tweetbot. There's a couple of them for iPhone too. So I don't know why Android, I guess, gets the short end of the stick. I don't know.
But anyway, it's a decision that they've made, and it's not a whole lot people can do about it. But hey, maybe mounting some kind of campaign will get them to change their mind. Who knows?
Yeah, hopefully.
So we've got Shallow Unicorn in here. What's up? And doesn't look like anybody else is watching as yet.
Let's see if I can do this.
So let me go back to my list here. Oh, now the story I saw yesterday, because a couple of weeks ago or last week on my weekly news broadcast, I had mentioned something about that I had read that Lenovo was killing off Moto phones, or at least a lot of people thought they were. Well, it turns out that is not the case. And Lenovo has announced an event in Sao Paulo, Brazil on April 19th, which is less than 2 weeks away now.
Yeah.
And supposedly they'll be announcing the Moto G6, Moto G6 Play, and the Moto G6 Plus. And then I saw another article. And possibly the Moto Z3 Play. So, of course, that'll make some people like me who has my wife is using the Moto G5 Plus. That's the only reason she's letting me keep the S9 because we bought that for her, but she loves her G5 Plus. And the other one that I have is the Moto Z2 Play, which I think is an awesome phone for the money. So, like lots of other people, I'm excited about it. And I know these are below you, Will. I understand.
I haven't had a Moto in a while, but I loved them at first, but then I didn't like their approach to the updates. They kind of, for a company that was so close to having stock, they kind of bailed on the updates randomly, I thought.
Yeah, well, they did go from getting updates, almost as fast as Pixel phones, and all of a sudden they stopped that.
Yeah.
It seemed more after Lenovo took them over, so maybe that was the difference. But yeah, a lot of people were upset about that, and their updates got very sporadic and iffy. But last year was the first time I had ever had any Moto phones, and right now I have three. I have the Z2 Play, we have the G5 Plus, and the E4 Plus. So I love all three of those phones, and for the money, I think you're hard pressed to do any better.
Yeah.
So they should be making their announcement on April 19th. And with that announcement on the 19th, I would suspect that it'll be sometime in May that they would come out. You'd expect to be a 2 or 3 week delay, wouldn't you, Will?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, usually as long as they're not like LG. I know LG LG will put their announcement out in September and the phone won't go on sale till January.
Oh yeah, well that's what happened last year with the G6. They announced it in January, and we didn't come out with it until I think April.
Yeah, I don't know what they're thinking. Terrible, terrible execution.
Yeah.
Especially when they come out with all the heavy hitters, when they're coming out around, they're competing with Samsung and Apple. It's crazy.
Now, the only other thing I had on my list of discussion topics was, I guess, yesterday, Alexa or Amazon announced that Alexa would now have something called announcements, which basically works the same as broadcast on Google Home. So if I tell mine, which is behind me and you can hear me at the moment, to broadcast, it'll say, what do you want to broadcast? And I'll just tell it what it'll send that broadcast to every other speaker in the house. Yeah. So I gather if you tell Alexa to make an announcement, it'll do the exact same thing. And we have 3 Alexas in the house. I haven't even had a chance to try it out because I've been busy and I got home very late from work today. So I'll be trying that out either tonight or tomorrow morning. But anyway, I think that's pretty cool. And obviously, Alexa's doing what they can to catch up with Google Home.
Well, see, I'm looking here on another site, Android Police. They're saying that they're not going to come. Twitter is delaying the complete. I guess they're saying the plans to break third-party apps. They're saying they're delaying it. And I know I was reading earlier. The article said like it was supposed to be, I think it was June. But they've put it off, and they said they're going to give a 90-day warning before they do it. Okay. But they're pretty much they're gonna stop third-party apps from. Let me see.
Now I'm looking at another article on Mac Rumors, and they're saying June 19th
would stop working in June 2018 and would be replaced by account activity APIs.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying too.
I just know when I've used the third-party Twitter apps, I don't understand the whole thing, but I know when I've used third-party Twitter apps, there's always been like an extra thing I had to install to be able to refresh, or it was like they gave you a hard time, so it kind of pushed you back to the one, their app, even though you didn't like it. But
and that's what happened to me. I think I had tried one of the ones you mentioned earlier, a couple of years ago, and then I tried another one. And in both cases, I had the same issue. I had to do something special or something different. And I just went back to the native Twitter app and I've stuck with it ever since.
It makes me just tolerate theirs, I guess. Yeah. That's what they want.
Yeah, for the native Twitter app, I say the same thing as MKBHD, and a whole lot of other people say if they would only give me the ability to edit the app or edit the tweet after I tweet it. That's the only thing that I would want,
Yeah, I don't think anybody does, do they? I don't think Twitter has that at all.
No, Twitter doesn't have that at all, and everybody else does. You put out a Google Plus or a Facebook or Instagram where you can go right back in there and edit if you spelled something wrong or change something. But Twitter's the only one that I know that doesn't let you do that.
Yeah, see, there's somebody in the chat. Tech for Your Needs is saying, "What's the point of creating the third-party Twitter app?" Because if you're a developer, you have like a limited number of tokens, which is how many people I think can download it.
Okay.
But I'm going to ask him, why do they limit, if he knows, why do they limit the number of tokens for the app? Like, I don't understand how that works. Yeah, that's like basically the number of people who can use it, right? But why does Twitter do it that way? And if he knows, why do they make it so that if you get like a third-party Twitter app that you have to install a add-on to be able to refresh your feed, and why do they do that? I don't know if he knows.
So Tech for Your Needs, if you know the answer, please educate us.
Yeah, it's a pain though. Makes you not want to use the app at all. I knew that.
Exactly. Yeah.
What else is going on? There's been a lot of looks like oh well, did you see the John Legend the John. I guess it's the campaign they're basically coming with, but they're using him. He was on. He has a video out, music video, and they said they shot it on the Pixel. So I guess Google's getting behind.
Oh, cool.
The video shooting. They said they shot the whole video on Pixel 2 phones. And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. Have you seen it? Does it look good?
I haven't seen it. I just seen the thing here on the on the web. So I guess that's their way of promoting the video. You know how Apple does too, shot on an iPhone. Now they're saying there was a whole video.
Yeah.
Shot on the Pixel.
You know who I'm surprised hasn't done that is LG with the V30.
LG, it took them so long to even start advertising for that phone. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
The commercials just started coming out a few months ago.
That's true. That's true.
It was like every channel I would see the commercial, but I'm like, y'all should have been putting these commercials out a while ago, because I'm telling you, you can ask Mike. I really wanted that phone.
And I love mine. I know people aren't crazy about the front-facing camera, but the rear camera on the V30 is absolutely awesome. So yeah, I agree with you. They should have been advertising that big time the entire time. But who knows? This is why LG is where they are, and Samsung and Apple are where they are. You know.
Yeah, I wanted that phone bad, man. I swore I was gonna be my phone. I said I'm not gonna get nothing else. I'm gonna get the V30 because I like the camera features.
So what stopped you?
The price, and then just the knowing how they are with the updates. And then I was scared of the battery. It was just too many things. I said, because I had a bad experience with the G6. My G6, I know I was complaining. It wouldn't last.
I haven't had any issues with the G6 or the V30. So,
like over the summer, I would do 12 hours. I would go to work 12 hours, 7 to 7.
Right.
By like 11, my phone was on like 50%, and I would try everything. I had an unlocked one. I had a carrier one. I tried not installing the social apps. I tried turning the brightness down because I remember the G6 didn't get too bright for me anyway.
And none of that helped?
No, the phone. Ask Mike. I tried so many times with that phone because I love the wide angle camera.
Yeah,
then I was just like, forget it. I said, I'll forget it. I'll just go get the moment lens and call it a day.
I remember you mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd rather pay the 130 and get the moment lens on my good camera
right here. So, and one of my subscribers last week bought a V30 because I was listening to me talk about it. She loves it, you know.
Yeah, it wasn't really the launcher didn't really kill it for me. It was just the battery. I was getting nervous. I said the battery, and then
right. Yeah, so I remember from day one you were talking about the battery because I remember reading about it when was it in Telegram back then or?
It was somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember you were complaining about it.
$800, I couldn't do it.
Yeah. Well, that's why this year I've gone outside of DS9. I've gone to much more affordable phones, and which makes my wife happier too.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah. That's too much money to not be happy with the battery life. So,
well, I'm thinking the next phone that I get is probably going to be the Huawei Mate SE.
Okay. Yeah.
Because they just knocked that down from $249 to $229. I think the sale only lasts another week or so. So that's the affordable phone range that I'm looking to buy in. You know.
Speaking of LG, they have they're already showing off the G7 with their
I've seen.
Cube.
Are these renders or are these real?
No, I think it's the actual phone they've been showing. The leaks anyway.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I can go back to an LG now.
Yeah, for me, because I'm trying to stick to the affordable phones, I'll probably end up getting a G6 Plus. I may end up getting a Z3 Play.
You have a V30. You don't need a G6 Plus.
Well, I'm trying to get this year's if I have last year's, but what's going to make that tough is I also have the HTC U11, I have the LG V30, I have the LG. My wife isn't going for that again this year. You can count on that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll probably be sticking
I
to
mean,
like
I'm one to
450
talk,
and
man.
under.
I'm
You
one to
say?
talk from the Note and S8 to the S9, but you really be taking a back step to go to the G6 from a V30.
Well, that's true, but I have both. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And
I
then,
don't
of
know.
course,
LG's supposed to be coming with the new camera technology is their thing, but
who
I
is?
don't really think it's gonna compete with not so much. I don't even know. Not so much uh, Google or Samsung. I don't really know if they're gonna compete with anybody now. Like even the P20 and all is for the price range.
Oh, yeah,
LG, I think they really need to take their prices down
I
to
agree.
compete with like OnePlus. They
Yeah,
should be trying to capture that, to me, that level of smartphone
yeah,
versus Samsung, because Samsung is too big. Even if LG has a better phone, people are going to Samsung.
yeah, that's true.
So
And
they should price their phones at 650, 600, and fight
yeah,
with OnePlus, with Motorola, with them, because at least they're giving you more. They give you the quad DAC, they give you the headphone jack, they're giving
right,
you the they can do the 2 year warranty like they did with the, I think it was the G6
right.
when they ended up having things they had to extend the warranty.
Yep,
They would have been
absolutely.
better. They would sell more, because I don't even think I know like I don't think AT&T is too invested in them. I don't really see too many LG phones
Right.
at the
And
AT&T store.
and
They
at
don't
that
really have.
price point, if they came down to where you said, well, that's where HTC was with the U11. And
Yeah,
if HTC stays with that with the U12, then they'd be in direct competition with them, which is probably where they belong because HTC came out with the U11 at 650, and it seemed like the right price for that phone. And I think LG should and could do the same thing. You know.
okay. I'm looking here in the chat. Tech for Your Needs, and he's not really sure, I guess, why they do it that way either with Twitter. I don't understand it either. Because like you said, they're not taking away the users from Twitter. You're still using Twitter. So I
Right.
don't know why they limit the number of I guess app installs or something with that app, because they
Yeah.
only, it's crazy. I don't know. You would think that they would just be happy that people are using their app, no
Exactly.
matter what they're using it on, because otherwise you can just use the web version of it. Just install the icon from your Chrome browser and use it that way.
Yeah. Oh, and Shallow Unicron said he almost bought the Z2 Play, and I absolutely love that phone. If the Z3 Play is as good as the Z2 Play, I'm going to be loving that phone. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so what are you using now, George? You still using the S9?
Still using the S9 and the One Plus 5T. You know,
What are the drawbacks to the S9 you're finding so far?
the Bixby button above all. Now, I have to admit, I have not used the Bixby button at all. Now, of course, this is my first time experiencing the Bixby button, but like I've seen so many people who, get a Samsung Galaxy S every time, the Bixby button does get in your way. Half the
Yeah.
time you try to do the volume down, the next thing you know, you hit the Bixby button. And it seems like it's always in the way. And the only reason I haven't disabled it is I haven't looked up how to yet, but I will be doing that
Well,
soon.
all you got to do is swipe to the. I think if you just push the button and it shows up on the feed, it's right there at the top, where you'll make it so that if you tap it, it doesn't work. You have to hold it
Oh,
to
okay. Okay.
use it.
So I'll
Yeah,
definitely be trying it because
I mean,
I'm always hitting it when I don't mean to hit it.
yeah, they should have rethought that, but I don't think they're gonna switch it now. I think they're all in with the Bixby
Yeah, they
button.
seem totally committed to that.
Well, let me
And
tell you, George,
you're the one who said to me I need to try it out.
you
So
should.
obviously you have some experience with it.
Yeah, I've tried it, and and I've
Did
even
you?
set up some. I've set up some some quick commands on it, excuse me, some quick commands on it where I can tell it go into work, and then it'll turn off my Bluetooth, turn on my Wi-Fi, set up some quick, and it's good for that. But besides that, I don't really use it too often.
So can we say you like it or not, or you?
I would rather not have the button.
Okay.
If it was something where I could just go into an app and set it up, and it could do like the granular things on my phone, the smaller things on the actual phone,
right,
that Google Assistant can't control, I would like it.
But the things you just said, well, I can do those in IFTTT, which I do use.
You know what? I tried to use that app, and that thing is it's not, I don't know if it's confusing. It was just too much work. Like, I was looking at it, and I'm like, all right. So it would say like, you would want to set up something, and it was like, I don't know. I think I would rather, I guess, because it was so cartoony looking.
It could be, yeah. And it was, and still is.
Yeah, I would rather a straightforward app. Yeah, because I've tried it. I tried it like last month. I'm like, I would rather something where it was just simple. This, click this, tap this, and then that was it. Instead, I would have to see a whole list of user-created ones, and then I was like, oh, this is too much. So I just. That's the thing.
Now, see, I started using IFTTT maybe 2 years ago. But yeah, the amount of recipes out there on there now are tremendous compared to what they used to be. So I can see where your first time you go into it, it's overwhelming, I guess I'd say.
Yeah, it's a little much. We got Mike in the room, and Mark and Catherine Dolliger's in the room. Shallow Uniform still in the room. Yeah, like
Mark is here. Okay. Hey, Mark. Yeah, Mark is.
It was too. It was too much for me, so I just got out of it. I'd rather use the Bixby for those smaller things. But yeah, Samsung isn't they're not gonna pull out of it now. They're
they're committed, obviously.
But I really wish they would get rid of the button. Other drawbacks to the S9 aren't really drawbacks. I mean, the battery life isn't the greatest. For me, it's not stock. I do still think I prefer stock in some aspects, and it's small things like.
As do I.
I guess I could put a third-party launcher in there to do what I want, and I have switched back and forth and done it.
Right.
Like even the small. Okay, you know how you swipe up, right, to get to your home, your app drawer.
Right. Yeah.
All right, you swipe up, then you just swipe left or right. I hate that. Like, things like that drive me crazy. I don't know why they would do something like that. Just small things like that.
You had been mentioning before we started the show, you mentioned about the battery life on the Exynos version.
Oh, yeah, that was a big thing. They had there's an article on everywhere, and I think it was on Android Central, and they had a video basically explaining why the Exynos version has a lot of battery problems, because usually the Exynos one, that's
usually better, right?
Yeah, they always say it's better. You get better performance, better.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I hadn't seen that article yet. So
yeah, there's an article and there's a YouTube video. I didn't pay too much attention to it because I don't have an Exynos version. I was kind of just laughing in my head, like, about time we win something, because Snapdragon is always the one with all the issues. So.
Right. And the only one that I've known who had Exynos versions was Jay Williams. So I have no experience with it at all,
But yeah, I mean, the battery life isn't as good as it could be. But like, there's a friend of mine, he always says, yeah, but he was like, as long as it gets you through your, 8 to 10 hours, you're fine, because you always got a charger. Unless you're working somewhere but you don't have a charger, then you could see really harping on battery life.
And that's true to a degree, but because I don't have the Plus, I just have the regular S9. And the one thing I said, even in my was it 48 hours? I think I did a video on it, and one drawback to me was the battery life, because possibly I'm spoiled by my other phones, because my OnePlus, all my Moto phones, my U11, just about every other phone I have, I could go to work. When I'm working, I work 3 days a week. I turn my phones on at about 6 in the morning. Well, all those phones, I could just leave them on and turn them off at 11 o'clock at night, and
Not with a
they still
Galaxy.
have some battery. Not with the Galaxy, not with the regular Galaxy S9. That's just not going to happen, you know.
Yeah.
And I can get to about 10 o'clock, but it'll be down to 3%.
Whoa, yeah, you're just making it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
It's
Whereas my other ones at 10 o'clock at night, they're down to 25, 30, maybe 20. So I'm probably just spoiled that way, you know. But everybody says the S9 Plus gets better battery life.
It gets, I mean, I can get like 6 hours of screen on time. If I go to work, if I take it off the charger at 10, I can come home, and this is like moderate use,
Right.
messaging, some YouTube, some streaming.
Right.
When I leave work, I'll be at like 58%.
Okay.
And then I can make it till like 3 or 4 in the afternoon before I would plug it back in. But it's not every day. It's not the same. And
Okay.
like sometimes, you know, sometimes that battery chart will show that thing crashing like a you know, like an airplane going into the ground. And it's kind of random to me how it doesn't. It's not as consistent as, I guess, I don't know if it's TouchWiz doing it or if it's the screen being so, you know.
You don't say TouchWiz, say the Samsung Experience.
I don't know if the battery life crashing like that is the Samsung Experience.
Exactly. But yeah, you're probably right, because I mean that's the entire history of TouchWiz. TouchWiz always causes some issues, right?
It's so heavy though, but then it's like, I don't know. It's one of those things where you can't really win. I remember before, I don't know if you remember when they used to have like they used to call them the Google Play edition, where Samsung, where HTC they had a phone, and I believe Samsung did it with the S4 or the S4, I think it was.
I'm thinking the S3 because my wife had the S4. I think they did it with the S3 maybe.
Samsung, yeah, you know, you got the phone that was Samsung built it,
right,
and then it had stock on.
Right.
Oh man, if you could get the build of a Samsung phone with stock Android,
that would be, I agree. Yeah. Heck, my wife's S4 is still sitting here in the drawer next to me, you know, and alongside my Note 3.
I'm looking here in the comments, and Mark's saying his S9 fingerprint scanner has been sketchy. I don't know why. I've had no issues. I've had no issues with my fingerprint.
And neither have I. Mine has been solid, totally solid, you know. Mark, you got sticky fingers? I don't know.
George said, "Did you wash your hands?"
Mark follows me pretty much everywhere, so he'll get me back for that, I'm sure.
Yeah, listen, mine is my fingerprint scanner has been so good that I can have gloves on. You know, I work in the medical field. I can be wearing gloves and tap it, and it works. I don't know what happened. Maybe when you set it up, Mark, did you do the instructions that they gave you where you swipe your finger and it does it real fast? I didn't do mine that way. I did it the old way of just lifting my finger off.
That's what I do.
Just to get more impressions, because you can just swipe your finger down one time and it'll register it. I did it the other way so that it can get all the sides of my finger, and you know, maybe try it that way, maybe reset it and do it that way, or put the same finger in twice. Because I think you can put 5. You can put the same finger in twice, so this way you have a better chance of getting it right.
And I've had a couple of phones that have forced me to put the same finger in a second time, but only here and there. Mark is asking me, I guess because of my hours, am I in the security?
He's talking to me.
And actual Mark, I work 3 days a week, and I work for Enterprise. So I normally bring cars from one town to another within 30, 40, 50 miles of here. Today was a long day because when I started, I had to take a car to Nashville, which is about 140 miles one way. So those days tend to be longer days. But since I'm known as the driving nut of the group. Of course, they knew that I'd want to do that right away. So I enjoy my job tremendously because after I retired from programming, everybody knew if George gets a job, he wants a driving job. Well, my wife calls my job my dream job, and she's probably right. So, but on Mondays and Fridays, occasionally I'll work 10, 11 hours. Today was 11-hour day. So, but I enjoy my job a whole lot, so I'm good. Yeah, the fingerprint thing I don't get because my fingerprint has been nothing but solid on the S9.
This is the fingerprint scanner has been just as good as the Pixel to me.
Yeah.
Even the placement, I have no problem with the placement. It's been great, so I can't complain.
Yeah.
I've had no issues with it.
And I'm finding even with the lower end phones that they've gotten to where their fingerprint sensors are pretty solid too, you know.
Yeah.
Because I can remember a couple of years ago with the low end phones, you know, it was very hit and miss with the fingerprint. Now it seems like everybody's pretty much getting it right.
You know? Yeah. Well, you know, Samsung, they had it right with the S8. It was just a terrible position.
Yeah, exactly.
If you could reach up there to get it, it would work, but you just had to really reach.
But has it occurred to anyone that they only did that to torture people for years so that when they came out with the S9, the world would say, oh, they finally got the fingerprint. You can't watch a video without hearing that, you know.
Yeah, no. So, that was the reason to upgrade. Oh, the fingerprint scanner is right.
It's like and there were people making videos last year who got rid of the 8 because that they couldn't stand that fingerprint, you know.
Just like with the speaker too. The speaker was a thing.
Yeah, and the speaker on the S9, the dual speakers, is awesome. You know.
Yeah.
I need to do a video pretty soon, probably by next week, comparing the S9 speakers with the Axon 7, because up until this phone came out, to me, the best dual speakers on a phone was still on the Axon 7. I think Jay Williams and a lot of other people will tell you that, but I haven't compared it against the S9, so that should be a pretty good battle.
Yeah. What are your let me see. What are your thoughts on the P20, George? I know you've seen it.
Yeah, the P20 looks great. I'm not spending no $1,000 for the Pro, but I'm not going to get either one. And neither one of them are coming to the US, just like they did with the P10. But everybody is raving about the cameras, and anybody who watches my channel knows I'm very much a camera guy. Not that I'm any kind of expert using it, but I love showing off the cameras and comparing the cameras. So yeah, if somebody wants to buy me one, just buy me a P20 and let me know. I'll come and get it. But yeah, the DxOMark is giving them the highest rate. Both the Pro and I think the regular got the highest rating ever for any phone. I think they said the P20 Pro got a 109, I think. And even the P20, I heard, got a 102. And no other phone have ever gotten that high of marks on a camera. You know?
Yeah, those ratings are kind of misleading, though, because unless you really read the thing and see what each individual score was,
right.
Like sometimes the area, like it'll get a 90 in pictures and then a 70 somewhere else. You know what I mean? But
yeah, but
they do get a crazy high rating. But
well, what finally convinced me to pay attention to them was just yesterday, I was listening to Juan Bagnell, who was pretty much a camera expert. I even have a book that he wrote about shooting on a cell phone camera. And he even said yesterday that he's finally come to the point where he realizes that their scores are pretty fair. And he said, like you said, looking at the different parts, he said he wishes they would do something about putting that all together, I guess, better. But he said he seemed to think their bottom line score was a pretty fair score. So
yeah,
and that meant a lot to me because I have a lot of respect for his camera.
See, that's my thing, George. That's the thing that always pulls me to a phone is the camera.
Right.
I love the cameras, but I don't know. I've seen a couple side by sides with that. I believe it was that next to an S9 and a Pixel 2.
And how they look?
I mean, it's good, but it's not enough to pull me to a like. to me, it's kind of personal preference on what you would pick.
Right.
So I wouldn't be able to deal with their terrible software to get that camera.
Now, I know it's the last 2 days. I guess I've seen some camera battle videos with that, and like you said, the S9 and the Pixel. But because I've been so busy, I haven't had a chance to look at any of them yet. So you're saying in both cases, the Pixel and the S9 camera look better?
Well, no, I mean, it was like a preference thing. Like they held their own. Like it wasn't a big thing where you're gonna say, wow, especially with the S9 and the low light.
Right.
Because to me, I wouldn't say, wow, this one, the P20 blew these ones away. I couldn't.
Right. Well, the S9 low light is its absolute strongest point too.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So I couldn't say, oh, I have to run out and go get, Huawei, even though I don't like their software.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, this software I don't think will bother me, but I guess I'll find out when I get the Mate SE, because I'll probably get that by next week.
Well, if Samsung's doesn't bother you, I don't know. From what I've seen from Huawei, I don't see how that couldn't bother anybody.
Really, it's that bad?
They say it's terrible. That's why the battery life. I know we talked about it last week. They say that's why the battery life's so good, because it's aggressive and shutting down background apps.
Right.
It has a lot of,
and some people don't like that. I know that.
Yeah. So I mean, if every phone did that, I'm sure your battery life would be crazy. That's like putting on the power saving mode on Samsung.
Yeah. I guess the only phone that I've had with a skin that I don't mind is the OnePlus 5T. It's the only phone that I've had in years.
I don't even consider that a skin. You consider that a skin? That thing is so. Their thing is like nothing.
But technically, it is a skin, and I find it very very pleasing.
I wish they would put a launcher for that in the Play Store, because I'd have that on every phone.
Yeah, that would be a really good launcher, because it's the only one that I haven't just grabbed another launcher right off the bat. And like I usually put the Google launcher on everything, but the S9 would not let me put it on there. It said it wasn't compatible, so I ended up putting the Nova launcher on.
You got to get I just had one on my phone for the S9. I gotta find it for you, and I'll send it to you. Okay. It was just like the Pixel. It was the Pixel launcher.
Okay.
It had
I've never used the Pixel launcher on any other phone, because I generally don't side load stuff. And as far as I know, you have to side load the Pixel launcher, right?
It was, but it was fine. Oh, I gotta find it. But the Pixel had the swipe for your Google feed. It had everything just like the Pixel launcher, and you could have icon support. You could put your own icons on.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. Oh yeah, send it to me. I'll give it a try.
Yeah, it was no problems. I gotta find it. But yeah, I went back to the S9 regular launcher though. In the end, I'm back on the regular one.
Okay, I haven't gone back to the regular launcher yet.
So you're using Nova?
Yeah, I'm using Nova, and I'm using Nova very lightly. It just was more like the Google launcher, and I've never used Nova before.
Oh, you never used Nova? Okay.
No. I'm totally sold on the Google Now launcher whenever I can get it. So
yeah.
It's pretty much my launcher for every phone. So
I don't know. And then George, you know what? I was almost pulled back into the glass.
Yes, I know. Well, see, following the thread the other day, I thought before that, that's the last thing that you typed. I thought you had actually gone back to the iPhone.
I almost did it, man.
But you were very close, huh? Well, you said something about using your wife's, right?
That's what happened. I held her phone and I said, "This phone feels so good."
I'm just picturing you grabbing her phone, saying, "Heaven, I'm in heaven."
I said, "Oh my gosh!" I said, "This phone, it's oh man." Have you held that phone, George?
No, I haven't. The only iPhone I've ever had in my hand was the iPhone 6 Plus that I had, and I sold it after 6 months.
If you ever go back to the T-Mobile store if they have one where it doesn't have the, you probably won't be able to. That phone feels so crazy when you can feel it with no case on it. It feels like, okay, your S9, you paid what, 5 something, 4 something, but the phone is
after the trade-in, yeah.
Let's say if you have a Note 8, your Note 8 would cost you $950.
Right.
When you hold the Note 8, I mean, if you know, besides the glass, I guess the weight of the phone and that with everything combined, you could say, okay, this phone might be $600. When you feel the iPhone 10,
right,
that thing feels like you're holding $1,200. Like it feels.
You're the first one I've heard say that. You know.
It's heavy. It's heavy. The metal, like I don't know. It feels like it just feels expensive. I don't know.
Well, that's the same with the HTC 11. It's heavy and it feels solid and it feels expensive. You know.
Yeah, it's like, and then being that there's no bezel on the front, you got the notch, but there's no button. The glass, it just feels like when you feel it, it's like, and then it's the perfect size to me to use it one hand. And my hands aren't that big, but I can use that phone with one hand. Like I don't have to.
What's the screen size again?
I think it's 5.8.
Okay.
I can use it one-handed, so it's like, wow, this phone feels like.
Well, see, that's the thing. The thing with the S9, I can use this one-handed. Now, plus, I haven't had the Plus, but I'm pretty big, and I guess my hands are appropriately big. So.
But see, I don't like the small. I guess I'm scared to buy a small Samsung phone because I already know the battery is gonna not be.
Well, yeah, you're right. You're right there. And if I had the money for the Plus, I would have gotten the Plus, but I didn't want to spend the extra money, you know.
Yeah, you see what he said? You see the guy checked for your needs. He said it's stainless steel around the frame. That I guess I don't know. It's just everything. When I feel that phone, it was just like, wow. But then I started looking at it.
Official Keith says Nova is truth.
And then I started looking at it, and I'm like,
Keith is one of the guys that was with us out in Vegas with ZTE. So I guess I have to take his word for it, you know. And you see what Shallow Unicorn said about your iPhone? The long no.
Yeah, nobody. You know, I hate the software, and that's why it's terrible that every time I think about it, I'm like, man. But
now I have to tell you, when I got my iPhone 6 Plus, it was the only iPhone I've ever had. And from day one, the camera just blew me away. Just blew me away. Now other companies have caught up and it doesn't blow me away as much. So, but the biggest thing that made me sell that phone was iTunes. I hated being locked into iTunes. And I guess I was too used to the freedom of Android, you know.
Yeah, but you're not. I don't like iTunes either, and I have a lot of music on there from when I used to have the iPhone. I had it all the way up to the 4.
Right.
You're not locked into it now because even if I get an iPhone, I'll just put Google Music on it.
Oh, you can do that?
Yeah, you can still stream, and they even have. I couldn't believe it. They even have Google Opinion rewards. I don't know what you're supposed to do with it on an iPhone.
I get all my free movies on Google Play because I get my reward money, you know.
They have that on there. They have
yeah, they didn't have that stuff back then. Yeah.
They have that. You can still get I can still get access to my old CDs that I bought on there, my movies that I have on there from all those years ago. I guess
the other thing that drove me crazy was, I don't know if I should have done this, but it was my first iPhone experience. So as soon as I got the phone and I set it up, well, it said, well, do you want to download iTunes to your computer? Well, I did. So I could, because I like having my music in both places. And every single time I started my computer, first thing that popped up was iTunes. And I'm like, I don't want, and it drove me nuts. It absolutely drove me crazy, you know.
Yeah. You know, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. The only thing that stopped me from doing it was the software experience keeps me from.
Well, even Terry Williams, you know, who gets like every iPhone that comes out, even he says, you know, for an Android user, after a couple of months, it becomes boring, you know, and that is true for an Android user.
Yeah, it does. It's really boring though. It's like a whole nother level of boring, George.
Well, but I always tell, the average person, not techies like us, when people ask me about iPhones, and I always tell them, if you want a phone that just works all the time, yes, go ahead and get an iPhone, because I'm not an iPhone hater. Matter of fact, the first tech article I ever wrote was, can we just stop the hatred? Because I just find it so stupid that iPhone users and Android users, they got this hatred thing going, and I'm like, why do people just like what they like and let's go?
This is what I think pushes it, though. This is what I think pushes it. The fact that on iPhone, you get your app experience, for the most part, not everything, for the most part, your app experience is better. Android caught up, but on an iPhone, like they always say, they're only developing for one kind of software.
Right.
One kind of, well, now two different kinds of screen, one with a notch or whatever.
Right.
But you get
which
that,
allows them to get updates for everybody.
Well, not even the updates, just like the individual apps. Like look, the iPhone is never going to have not the problems, I guess, but they don't have as much issues as like an Android app will. Like, you see what I mean? You don't really see the articles about iPhone is shutting down support for these. You know what I mean? They'll, like, I know they just did the thing when they went to 64-bit or whatever. But I don't know. There's just something that makes the experience of the phone is fine.
Right.
To me, if the software was better, I would rather get that, because you feel content. Like there was a guy in the Telegram room saying that on an iPhone, you don't mess with your phone as much because they make everything the way that they want it to be, and you can't really control it, which is
make it work,
which is limiting.
Yeah,
and it gets boring. But like when I had the 7 a couple of years ago, and I had the 7, I had the iPhone 7 Plus, the watch, and the AirPods. I think it was. I don't know if the AirPods are out yet, but anyway, it was fine. But you get bored.
Yeah.
But you don't have. I don't know. I guess because you don't have nothing to do.
but yeah, you've got dependability. I'll give you that.
But you know what else was good about it? I know when I had, like, if I go to an iPhone right now,
right,
and I don't buy nothing else, and I just say I'm not going to buy nothing else, or no, I don't even have to say that, because you don't feel the need to buy nothing else because you don't feel left out. Like if you go right now and buy an iPhone 10.
Now Mike is in here making a good point, saying that Adam is deep in Google services and rocked many years with Apple. That's true.
Yeah, but okay, listen, that's the thing. If you go buy an iPhone right now, an iPhone 10, you might say, wow, I'm going to spend $1,200. Let's say you do everything. You buy the iPhone 10, $1,200. You buy an Apple Watch, what is it, 3 or whatever? $350.
Yeah, $350, I think, is the cheapest.
So let's say you spend $1,700, right? That's a lot of money. But for that investment, you're going to get 5 years of updates.
Yeah.
Your watch is always going to, your watch is going to get updated. Your AirPods are going to work. And if you already have a MacBook, everything's going to work together. When they release iOS 12, you're not going to say, oh, I'm missing the newest version of the software, or I'm missing this feature.
That's true.
You don't do that. So it's like,
the fragmentation thing is the way Android.
The way that we are, you save money, because you're not going to go out and say, I have an S8. Oh, I need the new, you know what I mean? The new,
I think you're stretching it to say you'll save money, because
you will. No, listen. No, George, listen. You won't say, you're not going to say, all right, I have the S8 Plus. You're not going to say, oh, I need to go get the S9 because I'm missing this feature and this feature.
Yeah, I see
because
what you're saying.
iPhone, you're not going to need it because they're all the same. Even though it's a dumb thing for us, it's something where it's like, it's all the same. Like,
yeah, that's true.
And then next year, you're going to get the update. You're going to have iMessage. You're going to have whatever features they're bringing.
Yeah, but, okay, so now you've got an iPhone 10, and you've got a great camera, and then the P20 comes along and has a better camera. And I don't care how long you have that iPhone 10, you know there's a better camera on another phone.
Yeah, but that's what
I'm
I'm
going to go
saying.
get that.
No, but that's what I'm saying. If you're an iPhone person, you don't care about a P20.
Well, I'm not saying you care about the P20, but even an iPhone person can want the best camera. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but
It used
listen,
to be
okay,
the iPhone
listen,
person always had the best camera, but
no,
that's no
no,
longer true.
wait. You can say that, right? But if this was true, just imagine, George, you know the Pixel has basically, besides the, let's say, the Pixel has pretty much the best camera, but it's underrated.
True, yeah.
Now, nobody's buying the Pixel. You can't get an iPhone person besides Adam that I know of to switch from the iPhone to the Pixel. And I'll give you a reason right now and tell you why. Because if I can take the most amazing, what's it called, 4K video on my S9, let's forget the limit, the 5-minute limit. When I'm going to send it to Mike, I have to upload it to Drive, send it to him. If I have an iPhone and Mike has an iPhone, I hit the button, he gets the video perfect, beautiful, without compression or whatever, because it's not going through the phone. There's you know what I mean? There's things that make people stay on an iPhone that Android can't. It's terrible. No matter how good the camera is. Like when I did the video with the S9, and I'm like, wow, this video looks great. For me to send it to somebody, I have to jump through so many hoops that it's. So it's like the iPhone people are like, even though I can go tell people,
but like you say, nobody buys the Pixel. But like you say, nobody buys the Pixel because except us techies. But what has Google done with YouTube TV, which I'm a customer of? Well, you can't turn on a TV, hardly, especially a basketball, without seeing a YouTube TV commercial. Well, if Google did the same thing with the Pixel, I bet you'd be seeing them all over the place. For some reason, they don't advertise the Pixel. They advertise YouTube TV like crazy.
But you know what? I don't think the Pixel, and nothing's ever going to get the love that iPhone's going to get, because as simple as it is, it's a shame. I guess not a shame, but it's what some people want. Like the guy in the Tech for Your Needs.
But that makes sense because who was first? Well, iPhone was first. You know.
Yeah, but that's not the problem. The problem is with Android, you can get a Samsung, you can get an LG, and I can go buy and I can go buy $150 Android, and they're all going to do the same thing, but they all have the same limitations. Like, look, if you spent $950 on your Note, and you can only record 4K for 5 minutes,
yeah, that's true.
It's like, so that's what I'm saying. If you go buy the iPhone 8 Plus, you're good until, like, you don't have to buy another iPhone to be caught up with everybody.
But you keep talking about the minute limit. But yes, but I do have phones here that are recording 4K that don't have that 5-minute limit. You know?
Yeah, but what do you have? It's nothing that I'm going to see a commercial for.
No, that's true. That's true.
I gotta go to Gadget. What's it called? Gadget Best.
Maybe the P30. You will see a commercial for that. You know.
That one doesn't have a limit.
I don't remember that it does.
I'll be surprised, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't know. It's always the feeling of whenever I see the iPhone, even though I don't want to try it, and I'm like, I know I hate the software, but I'm like, I know what makes you. Well, not you, but what makes people get it, it's because the software experience is crazy on there. It's crazy. And if you know somebody else with an iPhone, it's like a whole, it's a whole different thing.
I know lots of people with iPhones and they love them, but like the girl that I just told you that bought the V30 last week, she was an iPhone user. She loves the V30 now. You know, that's rare, but it happens. You know. And
yeah, he's saying you can share, but you can share with
the HTC U11 last year that used to be iPhone. They love it too. So I mean, it can be done. People can be converted.
Yeah, well, Adam likes it. It's just that's always a thing for me where I'm always like, I don't want to try it, but then I'm like, I remember, you can ask Mike. Mike will tell you, when I had the 7 Plus, I had the 7 Plus, the watch, and I think the AirPods. And I mean, I guess I don't know. It's kind of like, think about how much time you'll save out of your day because you're not messing with nothing with your phone.
Well, I don't use a lot of time in my day because of problems with my phone. If I'm messing with my phone, it's because I want to.
It's not it's not problems, but it's like, just like we were saying, you're like when I get my phone, I gotta put Nova on it. Or you know what I mean? I gotta do this. You don't gotta do nothing because
once you get the iPhone, if I was able to put another launcher on day one, I thought about it. I just knew I couldn't do it.
Yeah. Once you get over the initial shock of, I don't even know if it's a bad feeling. I think it's more like you get the phone and you're like, I can't do nothing to it. Once you get past that, because I know me, like I always got my phone in my hand.
I never got past that.
I'm like
me. I fell in love with the camera, but I never got past what I couldn't do.
See, I guess that's my problem. I always have my phone in my hand, and I'm always messing with my phone, even if it's just switching something. But it's kind of like it's like I'm tinkering with the phone. When I had the 7 Plus, I didn't tinker with the phone. I didn't say, "Ooh, when am I getting the next update?" I didn't care about nothing.
Question:
because the phone just worked.
Did you miss tinkering with your phone?
I didn't.
Be honest.
I know. Listen, I didn't miss tinkering with the phone, like moving stuff around and all that. Because once I had my setup, I was fine. I guess I missed being able to change stuff around when I wanted to. Not like as often, but you couldn't change nothing. Like,
it makes sense that you missed that, but as much as somebody like you likes the iPhone, you did miss what you couldn't do. And since I was an Android user for years, I never got out of the fact that I can't do this, And I finally got to the point where I said, I'm not being able to do stuff. I'm selling this, and I did,
George, I'm laughing at the
guy. Don't think that I'll never get another iPhone, because I probably will at some point. But for what it cost, it's probably a ways down the road.
I'm laughing at the guy in the room. He said the Apple store stinks because of how many times they make you put your username and password. You don't have to. You can turn that off though. You can go on there and say for free items you don't have to enter it. Because I know I used to do that too. Right. But I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
Mark is saying he almost switched to Apple at the years of Android. He has an iPad Pro, works on my Apple craving every once and again. And yes, I think there's a big difference between people that use other Apple products and the phones, because even somebody like Jay Williams, who has everything, he misses his Android and always goes back to it because he gets bored on the iPhone, but he loves all his other Apple products. So I can understand that,
Okay. All right. I know there's somebody watching right now who, I don't know. There's probably somebody who's on Android who probably spent a couple $1,000s this year buying phones. Okay. Now, all I'm saying is, let's say you bought a Note 8 and you bought an S9, right? Like me, if you bought, or if I bought an iPhone 10 and the Apple Watch when they came out, and I already had my AirPods, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would be fine. Now, if you bought a Note 8, a Note 8 and an S9, when the Note 9 comes out, even if you don't buy it,
you're gonna want
it. Yeah, you're gonna want it.
I agree.
You're gonna want it. If I have an iPhone 10 and an Apple Watch, when the next iPhone comes out, they're gonna get up on the stage and they're gonna tell me this is the best iPhone since blah 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 blah. Right. Now, when they show me the features that it has, most of the features aren't gonna be physical on the phone. Most of them are going to be software changes. Right. There might be 2 different things. They might tell me this one has the A12 chip. Or
and blah, blah, blah. They're going to tell you they're the first ones with it when it probably isn't.
Of course. But I'm not gonna be missing nothing. If I don't go update my phone, I'm still gonna have iMessage. I'm still gonna have Animoji. I'm still gonna have iCloud. I'm still gonna have that file manager mess that they got. Everything that iPhone people have, I'm gonna have it. I'm still gonna have continuity with my MacBook, with my AirPods, with my Apple Watch. You're not missing nothing. On Android, it's like you if you don't upgrade from the S9 to the Note 9, that they're both putting them out 6 months apart, you're missing something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you don't have to buy it, but you know how we are. And you're doing good this year, but I know how I am. It's like, even though you don't need it, I'm like, oh, I'm going to die one day anyway. I might as well go buy it so I can try out the new.
Well, I should tell you, you don't have to convince me. The only reason I don't get an iPhone is strictly the price. But other than that, if I could afford to buy one once a year, every 2 years, I would.
George, now listen.
By the way, Everyday Tech is in here. He's saying hello. And Louis Tapia had a good one.
George,
he said that.
George, I'm about to tell you how you can buy one.
I'm not buying one, so you might as well just give up. Wait, I thought.
Don't listen to me, George.
Wait. Let me get. Lewis had a good point about the Pixel. He's saying, I lost it, but he said basically we're saying, wouldn't people like to see Google make a more mid-range price Pixel? And I'd like to see that.
It's not gonna come here.
What do you mean, come here?
It's gonna be in India. They're not gonna do that.
Oh, well. If they made it to India, you know, half of us would import it anyway, as long as it had bands that worked here.
The rumor is they're doing it, but to get a mid-range Pixel, you figure they already got the $600 one.
Well,
you can get the Pixel.
When I think mid-range, I'm thinking 500 or below. You know, I mean, to me, if you're going to call a phone mid-range, you've got to get somewhere below the OnePlus 5T. You know.
Yeah.
Because to me, once you get to the HTC U11, you are not mid-range anymore. You are a total flagship. That's how I look at it. You know.
I know the Note 9 is coming out, George, and I know I'm going to be sitting there in, when is it, August or September, and I'm going to be like, oh, I don't want to do it, but
hey, with the price tag, I got over it. I haven't had a Note for 5 iterations now, and I'm not missing it. You know. And as much as I loved my Note 3, did I use the pen? Almost never.
That's what's gonna pull me back to Apple.
And they will say they use the pen a lot. Well, and they make the point. If you don't use the pen a lot, what's the point in getting a Note? And I agree. You know.
Yeah.
Did you use the pen a lot when you have a Note?
Sometimes. Not enough to justify buying it again, but you know, they're gonna put something on it where it's gonna be like you feel like you need it.
Need it or just want it?
You know, you just want it.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what American advertising is all about, getting you to want it.
Yeah, but you know what though? But you see, okay, that's what I'm saying. That's the difference. Even a long time ago when I had the iPhone 4, I didn't get the 5, the 6.
Right.
I didn't get the 5 or the 6 because the 4 had everything that the other ones had.
Right, I got you. Yeah.
It wasn't until I got to Android that I felt like I gotta, I'm missing something about it.
Yeah, because you always are missing something when a new phone comes out, and that's true. You know. Oh, before I forget, I've had this up for a while. I looked up, was there a limit on the V30? It seems like it's a 4 gigabyte limit because of they're thinking it's because of the file system, but no time limit. You know?
You see, George? Now, George, let me see. What phones did you buy this year? You probably got a nice couple of phones this year.
Oh, this year?
Don't count the S9.
I bought this year is the S9. The Sony SA2, and is that all? Oh, and the Xiaomi Mi A1, which is a great phone, for about $200. Right now, you can get it under $200. This is an awesome phone. You know. So that's all I bought so far this year.
So you spent some good money, though.
That's true.
You spent some good money.
Would I rather have those 3 phones that I bought this year or the iPhone 10? I'd rather have those 3 phones. You know, because I'd rather, as a YouTuber and a techie, I'd rather have the experience of trying out these different phones and be stuck with one great phone. And I'm admitting it's a great phone, but I don't want to be stuck with that one. Then what's the point of me even being a YouTuber?
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess no, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a YouTuber, so it's different. But I mean, I understand what you're saying. But see, that's why. But that's why I like having more than one phone too, just to plan with the phone. Exactly. But at the same time, if you use well, you said you used it for 6 months. I guess if you used it if you used everything with it and didn't touch your Android phones just to see the experience.
Yeah, I didn't touch any other phone because I only had one line at the time, so I just stuck my SIM card in there, and that was that. And now I have 3 lines of my own. So
you were bored.
Yeah, it bored me to death, and I hated the iTunes lock-in.
Now wait. Do you think you were bored, or I don't even know how to say it? Do you think
you flat out? I was plain bored. I admitted the phone worked great, but I was flat out bored. That's just a fact. It was.
No, I'm saying like. So you were bored. You didn't like the experience.
It's not that I got tired of the same experience every day, month after month after month, with nothing changing. That's what bored me.
Listen, no, but this is how crazy we are, George. Because look,
I'm an American. What do you expect?
No, listen. We're tired of the same experience. But when you go to your phone, you want your phone to make phone calls, to send text messages, to read your email, to use your apps, right?
And to be able to look at YouTube.
Okay. When you had the iPhone, you could do all of that. And every day you had the same experience, which means every day it made your phone calls, used YouTube, took pictures that you said were great. You had your video, all that worked great. And if you had a plus, your battery life was crazy. Because that phone has great battery life, or standby time anyway. Now,
standby time was awesome. Yeah.
Now, when you went to Android,
what you're saying,
you want the same
thing. Entire economy, because our economy is based on you wanting the next thing.
It's just funny hearing you explain it that way. Because when you went to Android, you wanted your phone to do the same things. So you want the same experience. You just want to be able to play with the phone.
Except that I find Google Play Music, for me, I enjoyed that a lot more than I did iTunes.
Yeah, but you didn't download Google Play Music.
But we couldn't then, right? 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, you can't do that, right?
But I know Google Play Music is on there, and it works just as good. Because I know when I had the iPhone, I had Google Music, Drive, I had a whole folder, Chrome, everything. Oh, that was the other thing that I don't like about the iPhone. But if you have a MacBook and you can get by it, is the not being able to switch your browser to Chrome as a default, not having the default apps. But if you have a MacBook,
I love my Chrome browser.
If you have a MacBook, you don't mind it because it's not as bad because you're using the Safari browser on the Mac. Maybe you can still have Chrome on there.
Okay. But and keep in mind, you're talking to somebody who's never owned another Apple product other than that one phone. So
okay. Well, yeah. But yeah, it's just funny, George. I don't know. I know. I see how much money I spend a year on phones, and I'm like.
But like I told you, you don't have to sell me because I will actually sell other people on iPhones if that's what they want. That experience, I think they're great phones. It's just they're not for me, and they're generally not for Android users. At least for Android users that want to not be locked in, because that's one thing Apple will always do. They're going to lock you in, and you can't get out.
But it's not as bad as it used to be, though.
Yeah, I agree. Based on what you're telling me, I agree.
Before you had to plug your phone into iTunes, now I know the last time I had an iPhone, I never touched it with a computer. I never plugged it in. You know, before you had to plug it into iTunes to
That's right.
sync it.
I had to plug it into update. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, now you
That
don't
used to aggravate the heck out of me.
you don't, you don't got to do that no more.
Thank
But
God.
yeah, I don't know. I'll probably still be on iPhone. I don't know this year.
You should work in an Apple store, bro.
I do like if Samsung had a store, I would work there. I do like the form factor of the iPhone 10 though. That form factor is crazy. I hate the knock.
Now,
like
Rob from RP3 Tech Reviews is saying you can share Samsung with link sharing up to 2 gigabytes with other Samsung phones. That's not a lot of hoop jumping. Now, yes, he makes a good point, but the drawback there to me is with other Samsung phones, which locks out an awful lot of phones.
It works with anything because I got it on my Pixel. I got link sharing on my Pixel.
Oh, okay. So then he's making a good point. That's not a lot of hoop jumping.
It's not, but it is. It's extra. It's
more than you'd have to do with an iPhone, is what you're saying.
If the other person had an iPhone, yeah, it's more, yeah.
Yeah.
It's more. But yeah, you can do it. You can do it. Even something like one of my friends told me, and I didn't notice that Wi-Fi Direct is on, it's on all Android phones, but nobody uses it except for Samsung.
Okay, yeah.
Samsung's the only one that have something that you can actually do with it.
Use it for, yeah.
Which is crazy. When Apple, you can use AirDrop with just about, I think, up to the 5, maybe the 6. Yeah. Everybody has AirDrop.
Mark is saying, I guess he's saying he's got the S9, the 7X, and the Mate SE, and he's saying we are all in denial. LOL. But see, I hope nobody is thinking that I'm arguing against the iPhone. It's just not for me, but it's for an awful lot of people. So I keep telling you, don't have to sell me. If you want to buy me one for $1,000, then I will take it happily.
But that's like when Mike tried it. Mike tried it for a few days, and he was like,
"Yeah, but he tried a really old, cheap one, didn't he?"
Yeah, he tried a small one, and I'm like, Mike, you gotta get the whole experience.
Yeah, what was the one he tried?
He tried like a 6, a
5C or something.
No, I think he tried a 6. I think he found a 6 that he was able to get for cheap. But I was like, you have to give it a fair shake. You really gotta try
and that's why I feel like I gave it a fair shake at 6 months.
Yeah, you did. You gave it a long time. I just think it's hard, even for me, to go back to it now. It was hard. Like when I tried the 10, I don't know what it is.
And like I say, I would take one in a heartbeat if I had the money. But if I went and spent $1,000 on the phone, my wife complained about me spending $600 and $700 and $800 on phones last year. She'd kill me if I bought $1,000 phone.
George, you don't got to spend $1,000.
Okay, what do you have to spend now to get an iPhone 10?
Go do the Apple upgrade program.
No. You mean where I'm paying something a month? I don't pay monthly for any phone. I buy my phone and I'm done.
So go get the iPhone 7.
I don't want a 2-year-old phone now. If I wanted an iPhone, I want an iPhone 10, period.
So go get an iPhone.
So you need to ship me some money or ship me the phone, one or the other. Think about it as your contribution to the older generation. That's all.
Go get an iPhone 10.
I have no shame. I can beg publicly.
Go get an iPhone 10, George, and we could use iMessage.
Hey, our kids out in Colorado, they're iPhone people, but even my wife, because of spending time with her daughter in Colorado, she came back last year talking about the iPhone and blah blah blah. But she fell in love with her Pixel, and then she fell in love with her G5 Plus. So that has come and gone.
Yeah, I hear you.
If I had to guess, I would say within 3 or 4 years, you'll see me have a iPhone, singular.
Yeah, I don't know. I told you, I spend so much money every year on phones, and I'm like, It's crazy. Like the guy said, we all need help.
Oh, Alan said just got off work. Pardon his lateness to the stream. I understand, Alan, because I had an 11-hour day today, and I got home half an hour before we started. So, all right.
Yeah,
so we've been on.
I don't know, George.
20-some minutes already.
If you see me in the stream one day and you see a Apple imprint in the background,
it won't surprise me. But like you said, you almost went back, but I still think you'd miss your tinkering.
I'll miss it. It's just I don't know. I think the problem is it'll take me a while to get I'll have to not touch nothing else.
Yeah, and that's why I think you'll stay with Android, because I think you already know that you'll miss your tinkering enough that you probably won't stay with the iPhone as much as you like it.
Yeah,
I like the software.
Yeah, I hate the software. That's it.
So just stick with us and don't go back to the dark side.
I hate the software, but I love it at the same time.
It's a love-hate relationship. Hey, we all have those.
Look, George, I hate the fact that I could take a nice video on my phone, and when I send it to somebody, it looks terrible. Unless I got to tell them to use Google Photos or link shares.
Okay.
I hate it.
Hey, we all go through love-hatred. Hey, for years, I loved being a programmer. Well, I learned to hate it at the end, and now I'm glad I'm not a programmer. We all have love-hate relationships.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Anyway, I think we're about done.
George, did you see Phone Tech at Work? He wants us on a stream.
Scroll back up as soon as possible. The problem with Team 100 streams start at like 10 o'clock, and sometimes those guys go till 2 o'clock in the morning. That's why I don't get on their streams. I think I was on one of the first ones they had, and then I think the second one they moved it up an hour just for me.
What day does he go on?
Right, tonight, always on Friday.
Oh, I'm at work.
Yeah, they're Fridays at 10 o'clock. Yeah. Now, occasionally they'll do one BG, or one of them will do one on Saturday or Sunday morning, but their regular stream is every Friday night at 10 o'clock. And Team 100, they are a great stream, folks. You should watch them. They're on every Friday at 10 o'clock. Just look up Team 100. You'll find them.
Are they on tonight?
I'm guessing they are.
Are y'all on? If they're on tonight, I'll catch them at work. I'll just put the YouTube. I got YouTube Red, so I'll be able to listen.
I catch them sometimes after I go upstairs and finish whatever I have to do at night. But trouble is, I can't hang with them till 2 o'clock in the morning. And they don't always go that late. It's just sometimes.
Yeah. See, I'm up all night anyway, but yeah, early to bed, early to rise.
Oh, yeah. I used to work graveyard shift back when I was your age or younger.
Let me see. We got anything else, George, that we didn't get on besides you keeping me out of the iPhone territory for another couple months?
Hey, now I'm just gonna wait until you send me a phone or send me some money. I mean, if you send me half the money, I'll get an iPhone 10. But no, I think we've pretty much run out of our subjects, and I got to thank everybody who dropped in today. Oh, Don, it's the first time I saw you were there. He says, we'll get over your infatuation. Apple seems nice, but it's boring unless it's not for you. Yeah, but that's the thing. Android people in general, I think, find iOS, or at least on an iPhone, boring.
Yeah, but I don't know. See, and I'm one of those people. I think it's boring because you can't customize it. But that's sometimes I wonder, like, is it really boring, or is it just that it does everything that your phone is supposed to do?
And that's why I tell people, if you want a phone that just works, get an iPhone. But it's like you said, it's boring because you're used to being able to customize, and that drove me nuts.
Yeah, but like, look,
I could put a freaking skin on the thing in it, because it wouldn't let me.
Hold on, wait, George. Now listen. All right, you want to be able to customize. Like I was telling you,
Wait. You remember you're arguing with somebody who's not spending $1,000, and I'm not setting for less than an iPhone 10.
I know. Now wait.
Okay.
Do you have any widgets on your home screen?
Say it again.
Do you have any widgets on your home screen?
Yeah, I have a bunch of widgets. I always have the Weather Channel widget on my home screen.
Okay, so you use widgets. Okay.
Yes.
All right. I was going to say, because I know, like me, I don't really use widgets, but at the same time, I hate the fact that iPhone doesn't have widgets.
Yeah, I love putting widgets on they're on all my phones. Yeah. So see, you just argued yourself out.
Nah, he told me to quit trying to talk myself into it.
That's right.
Nah, I don't even use the widgets, but I'm like, I want the option. I guess that's what it is. The iPhone doesn't give you many options. But
thanks, Mark. Thanks for hanging with us.
It just worked. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know, George. We'll see.
Okay, so you heard that, folks. Maybe someday he's going to buy me an iPhone 10. We'll see.
Oh, yeah.
I won't be holding my breath. You can count on that.
We'll have what's it called? We'll have a 2-week challenge. George on the iPhone 10 for 2 weeks. See how bad you hate it.
But I don't hate it today. I just don't like being locked in. Don't put words in my mouth.
Well, to see if you can survive.
Respect for your elders.
To see if you can survive for 2 weeks.
I'm sure I could survive for 2 weeks, but keep in mind, for the last more than a year, I carry 2 phones all the time. Could I survive for 2 weeks with 1 phone? I doubt it. It's like, you get so hooked into things like, when I used to write a lot for Joshua, he, I think about once a year, goes on a camping trip where he's totally disconnected, and he likes it. I couldn't stand half a day being totally disconnected because I'm so used to being connected.
Yeah.
We're all different, but I'm used to what I'm used to. So I don't think I could last 2 weeks with just an iPhone. I'd have to have at least one other phone. So I'm a spoiled brat. What can I say?
Because you need to tinker.
Well, no, you could probably give me 2 different iPhones and I'd probably lasted 2 weeks, but I just can't last with one phone. I have to have at least 2 numbers you can call, So,
George is connected all the time.
That's true. I hate not being connected. It drives me nuts, and who'd expect to hear this from an old fart like me? But I don't think like an old fart, I guess.
Yeah, you're still young, George. That's what it is.
And you should know. You saw that I took my 20-mile bicycle ride yesterday. Finally,
you did?
Yes, I did. And it was the first time this year because the other 2 times that I did the 14-mile rides, parts of the trail were blocked off because of flooding. So I was determined to get my 20 miles in yesterday, which is my normal. But since I hadn't done it this year yet, at 17 miles, my thighs were dying, saying, "Get off me!" And I thought about getting off the bike and resting a couple, but I didn't. I made my 20. And part of one of the reasons I like bicycle riding so much, as opposed to all the exercise I do here, is I psych myself. I ride from the car and I ride past the trail that would take me back to the car. And then I rode another 7 miles because I know if I ride that 7 miles, I have to ride back to the car. And I knew that would be my 20 miles. So I psych myself, even after all these years of exercise, and I still do it.
Okay. Yeah. Dad, man. I told you, I'm going to get there one day, George. I'm going to be like you. For right now, I'm still fat, man.
Well, I don't know what fat is. The few times I've seen you standing up on camera, you don't look fat to me.
You can't see my gut, man. I'm 190, George. 192.
How tall are you?
Short. I'm like 5'6".
Okay. All right. So you are a little overweight because I'm right around 190, but I'm 6'2".
Man, I wish. I don't know. My gut is too big, but I'm
now for years with all the exercising, and keep in mind, I've been exercising for 37 years. for years until I got my bicycle 5.5 years ago. I was staying right around 225 to 240, right in that range, even with all the exercise. But once I got the bicycle 5 years ago, that's when I went to exercising 7 days a week. And I dropped 56 pounds in 6 months. And it stayed off ever since, you know. So it's just the main thing is consistent. I don't eat right, you know, by other people's standards. I mean, I don't eat fried foods, but I don't watch what I eat. I don't watch what I drink. All I do is I keep exercising. And if 2 years ago at Thanksgiving, like a lot of people, I gained 4 pounds. And the next day I said to one of the guys I work with, well, I gained 4 pounds over Thanksgiving. By Saturday, it'll be off. Well, by Saturday, those 4 pounds were gone because all I have to do is extra exercise. Well, for me, I can push myself to do that always. And I don't have little kids at home. You do. Big difference. It's a lot easier to exercise when your kids are grown and gone. You
know? Yeah, but you know, I can still squeeze it in. I'm just
okay. Well, like I told you before, years ago when I couldn't find the time, I was going to work and going to school at night. And the way I found the time, I used to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, then I started getting up at 4:30 in the morning, which gave me a half an hour exercise. So that was my way of doing it, giving up some sleep.
Yeah, I hear you. I need to squeeze it in more, though.
It's what I tell my wife all the time. Humans are lazy. You have to force yourself to do it. And the only difference between you and me, I'm in years of habit of forcing myself to do it.
He told me chase my kids around. Yeah, that don't give me enough exercise. I walk a lot, but I guess since I'm so used to it from walking at work all night.
I found that when I worked at Blue Cross, and the campus here in Chattanooga is big. I mean, from my car to my desk was more than a half a mile just getting to the car. And I did that multiple times a day. And I used to watch a lot of people do a lot of walking. They have a whole walking path in the bottom of the building. I didn't see those people losing any weight. So I've always felt like walking is just not enough. Maybe for some people it is, but that's just how I feel.
Nah, you gotta really be walking. You gotta be power walking for real.
Yeah, that's what I think. You know, and for me, one of the reasons I have, you know, the two bicycles down here and the treadmill is if I don't sweat, I don't feel like I've exercised. Just me.
Yeah.
So, all right, sir. I guess we're gonna call it a night. I want to thank everybody that came by. Thanks for everybody's comments. Please share this video on all your social networks. And next week, Mike will be back from South Carolina. So the broadcast will come from Simply Your Device next Friday at 8 p.m. And then we'll be back to alternating. 1 week it'll be Mobile Geezer, 1 week it'll be Simply Your Device. Someday it'll be Will, but we'll see when that happens.
Yeah.
You did prove my point, though, Will, that you have too much knowledge not to share on a YouTube channel.
Oh, man, nah, man.
All right, sir.
I'm talking to y'all.
Right, this is Mobile Geezer saying good night. Will, you want to say good night?
Yeah, good night. I'm not going to bed, George. I'm up all night.
Well, I know you're up all night, but you're working, making money for the family. That's a good thing. And to pay for my iPhone 10. All right, folks, we're going to sign off. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.